Very sorry about that. Just had to go and argue with the Bridgestone engineer. He'd given me the wrong tyres.
We welcome Jimmy Laad back to the commentary box. You'll be very surprised to hear that not much has changed.
Oh really? Any overtakes, any pit stops, or are we just kind of levelled out until we get to the one-stoppers pitting?
I think the biggest story from the last lap and a bit is possibly Rob Sharp is catching Dovizioso. 0.6 of a second to the final second.
So Neuron and Chaco seem to be about a second. They've been like that basically the whole race, haven't they?
Here comes Hunsley. That's on Engbrink.
Engbrink. Well, Hunsley has pitted. Engbrink's going to be on low fuel, but his tyres are going to be a bit dead now. That's close now.
I think he'll have gotten it done.
That'd be an easy overtake. So he'll have the line for turn 2. Yeah, yep. He's through.
Utsa now is behind. Hang on, that's interesting. Utsa's behind Hunsley.
Well behind Hunsley. Ah.
That's very interesting. Berner through on Dimas.
So that's the undercut has not worked at all for Utsa. Deal is definitely pulling away from Neyron still. It's nearly 10 seconds of the lead.
It's very interesting that they should go for the undercut, but they were already ahead. So perhaps is it BRT maybe just panicking a bit? Oop, Saeed.
Oh, big slide for Saeed. He's kept it going though.
He's keeping the crowd entertained. I wonder if that's just, sorry guys, I can't get to 11th at the moment, but I'll make you happy.
It's just like an error in the CPU saying, "Oh, not 11th. What am I going to do?"
Make the crowd happy.
Even with that slide, he's gained 9/10 on Berner.
No, Berner's behind.
Berner's gained 9/10 on him. Whoops.
Yeah, if he had gained 9/10 of a second, you know, that's going rallycross style, and that's interesting. Here's Dovizioso. He's on one of the Evo GPs. I'm going to suggest that is Dimas.
Yes, Sharp's right behind, if you notice.
That's that.
But
thank you very much, son. Sigalakis squeezing Nowak. I can only see that ending in tears. Have a look up the inside now. I don't think that
corner. That's a fast corner. You don't want to do that. Chaco's catching Neyron still.
Nowak, I wonder if he's just trying to put Sigalakis under a little bit of pressure. Try and get his Greek counterpart to make a slight mistake. I think Neyron's possibly going to get caught. Karanen was just behind. I think he may have pulled into the pits, and that would be about right. Lap 29 of 54.
So
yep, there we go, confirmation. Karanen in the pit lane.
25 laps to go.
You would have to say it's
definitely
one stop. Hunsley, fastest lap of the race, 1:15.6.
So that's still about 6/10 off the pole time.
That would have got
There we go, Sharp on Dimas.
And
got to be an easy move. Team orders probably helping him through.
Ooh,
Dimas.
Well, he's making sure, you know, as an Indonesian driver in an Indonesian team, but Rob, plucky Brit, he's showing them who's the better driver at this race, that's for sure. A little bit of a jink across just to remind everyone who he is and what he's doing. Rinyaho in 4th place.
Back up to his grid slot, although it's been not the best race of him, but he's still 6th is still his best result, and 4th good one.
If he can get any closer, we might be able to get some good advertising.
I think that's Karanen right ahead of him. It is.
It is actually, yes, it is.
He's rejoined right in front of Sharp, who is definitely on a charge now.
Getting some fantastic advertising on that website.
But Sharp needs to get the move done quickly because he's still got to pit again.
Yes, well, we assume he does. It's going to be a tough ask, although he should have much less fuel. His tyres are now quite a bit older than Karanen's. Karanen, of course, has just come out. He's got fresh tyres.
Deal still leading, still not pitted, still a long way ahead. How far can he go, and how far ahead will he be?
I don't think there'll be any chance of a no stop. I just don't think the cars can possibly get the distance, and he's got 10 seconds on Neyron. He's doing a very good job. Tell you what, Monster. Every single race they turn up to, and they are pushing for that podium.
Yeah, I mean, they're close. They've got to get something soon. Maybe a win this season? I think definitely not off the cards.
No, they're a very plucky outfit. They're under the radar, I find. Here we go, Deal's in the pit lane. Right.
This is very interesting, because Hunsley's in 5th. Hunsley's effectively the leader of the pitters. So where will they rejoin?
Neyron's in the pit as well. He's followed his counterpart. Rinyaho into the lead.
Chaco's pitted too.
Chaco's pitted.
Hunsley sets fastest lap.
Hunsley goes into the lead. Oots is through, but arguably those two need to pit.
Right.
Burner
on Sade. Side by side down the start line.
And they're all coming out of the pit lane at the moment. This is going to be very interesting. Saeed is
Hunsley
up to 11th.
second. Hey!
What an effort.
Is he about to lose it though? Because Dovizioso is right behind.
Yes, for Dimas is in the pit lane. Jesus,
that is crazy.
I do not want to be in that position right now.
Looks like Neyron's pulled out right into the path of everybody battling. Kerenan's got a big bunch of cars in between him and the cars that he's battling with. Chaco's got at least 2 cars between him and Neyron.
Is that Routavara behind Kerenan? I think it might have been.
Might have.
Poirier
18th. It's been a disaster for Viper, really.
So far, not so good. Orange Viper team. This is their manager. This is not their manager. This is Benutzer. The German Rinyaho's into the pit lane, so that effectively has cleansed the field.
Yeah, so Hunsley leads from Utsa. Deal's probably 3rd.
Well, mostly cleansed the field. That's
Dovizioso past Neyron.
That's pitted.
Dovizioso past Neyron.
Oh, that too.
That's a very interesting move. So Engbrink and Sigulakis are in 4th and 5th, but they still need to pit. Speedy going very far, it appears, in this race.
They might be doing an interesting variation on the Engbrink special. Go as far as you can on one stop, and then do the low fuel. Hello.
That looks like Kerenan.
That would have to be.
Rinyaho's rejoined ahead of Kerenan. So they were battling earlier, and they just rejoined it after the pit stops. They're together again. As Burner pits. Dimas has dropped to last. He's a long way back, it appears. What's happened to him?
Could there be a problem? He might have had a problem, and he might have had to do 2 pits.
Maybe.
Or it might be a slight glitch in the timing that he's 147 seconds behind Burner, who before pitting, that would have been the gap.
Oots sets fastest lap, and he's catching Huntley now. Oots is looking to go get him here. Sigulakis pits. McNamara up to 6th.
McNamara going a long way as well.
So
there we go. There's your top. That was your top 3 and one of the speedies as well, who is in 4th, but not really. That would have been Engbrink. But that's the state of affairs at the moment. Chaco.
Chaco's definitely. He's rejoined in the bunch between the Cedars, and it's not helping him at all. He was 2nd behind Neyron, and he's now a few seconds and 3 cars behind him.
Now, I think in the background, Kerenan was ducking and weaving on Routavara.
I think Routavara's weaving on Kerenan.
That's definitely the case now. For them, this pit stop window has not gone well for them.
No, it's the guys at the front, the only ones who seem to have benefited because they had such a big lead. Everybody else has rejoined in with the one-stoppers.
Ooh, hello. Foro just making a slight mistake there. That's really impacted on Rinyaho. Rinyaho's had to back right out. He's now going to be under pressure from... Well, that's just interesting. You got the Finn with the half Finn and another Finn. and Poirier.
I wonder when this battle will finish. Karen side by side with Rinyaho. Oh, where's Hansley gone? Who's the deal? Engbrink,
Was that Hansley?
Where's Hansley?
No. Hello.
He's gone.
Could this be the second stop already? It is.
Yes, it is. Hansley and McNamara pit.
There he is.
Rinyaho's lost the position to Kerenan, and Lindner's going through. Lindner, who... Is that Lindner? Or is it Poirier? I don't know, but Hansley's down to 14th.
You may not have heard that coming through on the team radio. I think that was Poirier getting the order, hit this lap.
So Rand Poirier is now right behind Rinyaho.
Now hang on, that's interesting that Poirier has been able to get past the both of them. So
yeah.
Not sure if you just
that was all started by Kerenan getting past Rinyaho into turn 1. And somehow Poirier's taken the initiative and got past them both.
Now this is interesting. Will Utsa now be putting in the fastest laps trying to get
back ahead of Hansley?
Back on Hansley.
It's a very risky strategy, this two-stopping, because we've already seen there are quite a lot of cars who have one-stopped and some even haven't stopped yet.
At the end of this lap.
So, and again, you may not have heard that. That is Ben Utsa getting directions from BRT, pits this lap. And so now the chess game really hots up. Who's going to pop out where? How much tyre? How much fuel? Sprint to the finish.
And can they catch Deal? But Engbrink and Lindner still haven't stopped. And look, Dovizioso is 5th and he has stopped and he's probably going to the end. Sharp up to 7th.
Some of the one-stoppers, you'd have to say, Chaco, I think he's on a one-stop. He's in the top 10. Kerenan surely on a one-stop. He's in the top 10. Hansley's done 2. You'd think that would be it. 12th.
So it's just a case of heads.
Poirier, they fall a long way back. Here we go, so, Utsa into the pit lane. I do believe.
It'll be interesting to see where he rejoins in relation to Hansley.
I thought I heard a cheer from the crowd from outside the commentary box. Deal is back into the lead. Engbrink. Look
at that. Engbrink, Lindner, Utsa. Oh, there was another one. Basically,
Sharp.
2nd to 5th.
Sharp's back
all
in.
pitted.
Dovizioso. Oh, goodness gracious, that's just... Oh,
busy pit lane. So that Hansley's up to 7th now.
I was going to say, Poirier looked like he was really pushing down the hill there. Really had to snap the car around the corner, and then he locks up into turn 12.
Over to Yunsao. In the final corner to start his 36th lap. Rautavaara is also pitted. Interesting. So he was battling with Kerenan and Rinyaho, but they don't need to pit again.
And here we go. This is interesting. Hansley is now behind Utsa. So
yes. So the undercut hasn't worked again.
But he's gotten past through the first round of stops on his German rival, but then has fallen back through the second round.
It appears that the undercut isn't working because even though you're on fresher tyres, you've got heavier fuel and it's not very helpful.
Though, of course, that could be also a little bit... Utsa would have put in more fuel during the first stop to go longer. And then give himself a shorter stop the second time.
That also.
And this is where it gets really interesting, and that is why I'm in the commentary box and on the pit wall.
And in the car as well.
And in the car.
Yeah. How can you do this without only 2 eyes? You need about 5.
It's okay, I have it under control. I don't care about any of it. Nonetheless.
Well, you're up to 4th.
See? Laid back Australian style. It gets you places. Neyron in 2nd place.
So he's definitely going to the end.
He must
so it's a case of can Hansley and Utsa battle their way through to victory, or are they going to be stuck there?
And it's very interesting looking at the top 5, which is Deal,
All one-stoppers.
Deal, Neyron, Chaco, Keranen, Rinyaho, and then Utsa is right.
Utsa is right on Rinyaho's bum now.
You'd have to say the one-stoppers immediately ahead. They're in a bit of strife. But I mean, you look at it this way. Deal was just going through turn 3, and you got, people around Sigulakis, so your Angberink, your Noax.
Oots has passed Rinyaho. Oots has got past him.
Very good effort there.
Sigulakis is really closing on Noax now. Other way around, sorry.
Other way around.
Noax is getting used to this.
Well, you could say, yes, Sigulakis, he's getting closer and closer to Noax with every single lap. It's just, technically it's the other way around.
They are closing together.
Yes.
So Neyron's still a long way back from Deal. But
I have to say, I think Deal is a bit too far. Then again, there is still a long way to go, but I'd say he's a bit too far away from Utsa. Sigulakis struggling through turn 6 there, turn 6 and 7.
Yeah, Utz is going to have to be incredible because he's got 22 second gap and 15 laps to go. That's a lot to take out per lap.
He's gonna have to do a extreme Angberink. Angberink was able to do a very similar sort of times per lap, but
that was in the wet.
That was in the wet,
This
which
is
is
dry.
There's a bit more variation, but of course he did it in a lot less time.
Yes.
Oh, hello, Rinyaho. He's gone off at turn 1.
Rinyaho slides off. That is rather annoying, to be honest.
Suspension failure seems to be the problem for the DTK. The Finn.
Well, we know what we're fixing for next time, but that's a sad end for the Finn. Oh no.
Confirmation any moment now.
Everyone's going past suspension failure. It's been a weak point. We'll have to fix that for some time next race. But at least
here we go. We can see Deal. Looking at the map there. I think Utsa would have been going through turn 7. That is a very, just looking at the distance on a little map like that, that's a long way. If Deal does not pit again, it's going to be
it could always happen. You never know, but it shouldn't really happen.
You never know. BRT may have made miscalculations. There could be underfueled problems for Deal. You'd hope that it's not. I mean, he's going to go for a home win. In only the third race, he'd be the second person to win at home, and that's because there aren't any Malaysians in this grid.
Well, we could say Black's an honorary Malaysian. We could do that.
Well, he'd be they would be very happy for that. Nonetheless.
No, because he appears to be the honorary Dutchman, doesn't he?
He's currently the honorary Dutchman, and it seemingly worked.
It did,
very fast
because he won in the wet.
Nonetheless, here we go.
The Cedars together.
Saeed, he's going to look to the inside.
Been a bit of a disaster for them, hasn't it? Right at the back.
After Foro put in a very good effort in qualifying. He had a very good effort in Sepang. That's in Malaysia. It is a bitter pill to swallow. Though there were rumours not much was happening at the Cedars factory during the week.
Yeah.
They may have had a bit too much partying after the Malaysian Grand Prix.
Either that, or they're just saving up for a big spend before one of the races when their performance will suddenly jump up.
Of course,
that could always happen.
Next round after this is San Marino, the Imola circuit. That promises to be another good race. That'll be a very interesting one for sure. Back to Brazil though, and Josh Noack, team manager, Elite 2 Mercedes. Behind him is one of the speedies. That looks to be...
That is Dovizioso going past Sigalakis.
Yes. Saeed has fallen back from his teammate. Team orders, you reckon?
Maybe, because they were getting close and getting a bit dicey. So they've probably just been told, get it to the end. We might end up picking up some pieces, and we don't want those pieces to be our own.
Very much so.
12 laps to go. Pablo Deal, massive lead. 16 seconds now.
He's put in I feel he's put in a race worthy of it. I mean, was it particularly flamboyant or, you know, a spectacle? Not really. But was it a solid and calculated drive? By all means, he's definitely done that today. Of course, there's a bit further to go, as we saw last round.
12 laps, anything can happen. Although a 16 second lead, he can afford to chuck it in the gravel at one point and get it going again. But I'm sure he would not want to do that in front of his home fans.
No, and I don't think his manager would like him to do that either.
No, that'd be a big mistake.
Here's McNamara on one of the monsters.
That'd be Lintner.
Lintner?
Yep.
Could be.
Yeah, because Chaco's in third.
Of course.
See, look, the gap between Deal and Utsa is levelled out to 22 seconds. It's not changing at all. Unless Deal pits, he's got this.
Aaron holding down second. Good performance here from Entech. They've shown flashes.
Yeah, they didn't have to pace early in the race, but it appears that so far the one stop is working, and he's got decent lead over third. He was very fortunate with the traffic that he appeared in the front of the group and Chaco exited right in the middle of the group, and it's turned a 1 second lead into a 4 second lead. And
you can really see it there. Now, looking back in those 4 cars,
Bainbrink is up to 7th.
Could it be on?
Might have been a bit scrappy, but after the pit stops, he's returned in a strong place.
Though I have to say, those Elite 2 cars, they are on a move. They are looking really racy.
Definitely catching. And it looked like Poirot and Dimas battling for the last.
And Stephen, he's not going to want to be in that position.
No. Very close though. Very close. There's got to be an overtake soon. Well, it's either going to be an overtake or a big crash. Now we run through the final corner. Across the line. 10 laps to go.
Is he losing time? No.
Not really.
Not really. Not enough to get worried about. Not with 10 laps to go. You lose that, you're going to be, 3 seconds gap at the finish line. It's not a massive problem. Here's Keranen now. I'm not sure. Is that Hunsley or Rinyaho that is behind him?
That's Hunsley, because Rinyaho has pulled off in suspension failure.
Of course. I remember that. Hunsley, well, he's pitted later than Keranen. So it might not be over for him yet.
Of course, 10 laps to go. We still don't know if Deal, Neyron, Chaco, all these people can get to the end.
We have to assume though that they've figured them out properly. There's
pitching over half distance. You've got to make it to the end.
Now, just an interesting point there, with Berner down in 14th, but not 14th that I'm looking at. It was 15th. It was Joel Rautavaara. That's not gone well at all for them. I mean, those pit stops. He was battling to get past Keranen at one point, and he couldn't. And he's obviously pitted again.
It appears that the 2-stop has really not worked for anybody.
Well,
1 stopping was the way to go.
Seemingly, you'd have to say so. It depends though where you are. I mean, if you're Ben Utsa, well,
he's catching Chaco now. He's right behind him.
Yes.
Dimas locks up big time.
Is that Warrior getting pass? No.
He's close though. He must be going through at turn 1. If he doesn't capitalise on that, then I don't know what's going on.
But I mean, I think the further back you are in mid-pack, the more it's impacted adversely on your race. Here's Lindner, have a look at
Sigulakis.
That's for the final point.
He's Sharp. It was a decent start for Sharp, but he's dropped back and it's, what, 13th?
13th, still very strong for Evo GP. Another team, their factory in Indonesia, there wasn't much movement around, and a very interesting rumour that I've heard.
Oots is through. Oots is through on Chaco. Oots is in 3rd.
Where is Chaco at all? Is he pitted?
It's 4th.
No, who was I looking at?
Neyron, I think.
Chaco is in 4th, don't worry, and all the Monster fans, he's still on the track. No, a very interesting rumour is that Dimas has not been seen at the factory once since he was signed on. Which is
turning
interesting.
Up at the race, he's living the lifestyle, but not doing the job.
He's not doing the job, and if I be honest, well, you know, you can live the lifestyle, but if you want to finish last every race, that's your choice. Nonetheless,
so Elite 2's line astern, small gap to everybody else.
Small, but enough, I think, at this point. Utsa, he's going to have to make a big push to be able to catch Neyron. Now, while the Lamborghini engine is quite strong, it's not got that big an advantage, if at all, on the Supertech engine. The Supertech engine, of course, was, I believe it was the strongest at the season start, as given by the official FFG statistics. Of course, Lamborghini have got a little bit more behind them to be able to continue upgrading that engine. BRT, very strong team, German precision engineering and such.
And with a very accomplished team manager as well.
Of course, double champion in the F1 series, Mr. Ketterer. Hello. He's on his way for a 3rd. Yep. I hear.
And there's not much anybody else can do about that. He's riding aboard with Hunsley. 6th, I'm sure he can do better than that, but it's not gone well for him.
It doesn't seem that he's catching Keranen. It might be a case of soft tyre, hard tyre as well. Keranen is just
they're probably on just on the same fuel now, and it's just a case of bedding in and getting the result.
They'll be on very similar fuel, in which case it's just a matter of who's held their tyres together a little bit better than the person ahead or behind him. Oots 2.5 seconds to Neyron, but it's still 20 seconds to deal. It's just not changing.
Yeah. But Oots, I'm sure he can get Neyron. It's what, 4 laps he's made up 2 seconds? That's got to be a pass on the way. Yeah, he's catching. That's 2/10.
In the end, you have to say, you forget about, you completely throw out the window about strategy, because I think that if anyone, Utsa could have easily made the 2-stop work, but what killed him in the end was that at the start, Deal got away from pole and into the lead. And Utsa started 6th and had to fight through the 4 ahead of him to even get behind his teammate, in which case he still had to get past his teammate. Now you can talk all day about high fuel, low fuel and whatnot, but it's the same car. And that's a very hard prospect to have to catch your own teammate, get past them, and then stay ahead of them doing an extra stop. That's what's hurt him today. It was his qualifying, not his strategy, I say.
Yeah, it makes sense, but has been proved by most of the other people, the 1-stop has just been faster.
Yes.
You can drop back a lot in the first stint.
There's no denying the 1-stop was definitely faster, but I think for today, Utsa... Oh, hello, Saeed slides off the circuit.
Same thing as Engerbrink earlier. Engerbrink, not Engerbrink, sorry.
Hello to all our Dutch fans out there.
Sorry about our pronunciation of your name.
Nonetheless,
Dimas has gained 2 seconds there.
I do think that Utsa would have given the two-stop strategy a very good chance in that car today.
Yes, he's definitely been racy and fast. And he's just, as you said, been held back by relatively poor qualifying. Not that sixth is bad at all.
But compared to a pole position for his teammate, it's not what they were looking for.
Pole position, home crowd, he's going to take it.
Be very interesting to see. I haven't been keeping tabs on who's got the fastest lap at this point. 5 laps remaining. Confirmation there.
I think Oots has set a 15.3, I think,
which
in his chasing of Chaco.
A 15.3, arguably, best case scenario, would have gotten him 10th on the grid. So it could have been worse. Here's Utsa right now, possibly fastest man over 1 lap on the track during the race.
He's catching Neyron, not really enough though to pull a decent chance of an overtake.
You have to say though, if he can, Utsa, he's been loving getting out of turn 12 and then just punching up the hill and taking them down through 15 and into turn 1. He's been doing that well. If he can get close enough, I reckon he'll give it a red hot go. And even if it's on the last lap, he's shown us numerous times he's caught and passed people before the line.
Yeah, he is helped by the fact that the start-finish line is towards the top of the grid. So it does give him a better opportunity. For example, if it was someone like Manny Core, you come out the final corner and you cross the line straight away.
Yes.
So you don't get any chance down the straight on the final lap, whereas here, you've got an enormous run. You go about tiny distance before you hit the brakes for turn 1 after the start-finish line.
That was the gap. And I'll say, 4 laps remaining now for these two. Wow. 1.1 seconds.
That
was a 10th.
That's almost a second in the lap.
There's a second in the lap, and there's definitely a 10th through the last sector. And so clearly, what's happening, what we can see, the Supertech engine, it's going to hold its own down the straight. But Utsu is going to be all over the back of him through the turns. That's a very interesting picture, isn't it? Hunsley's dropped 4, Nowak up 14,
yeah,
Lindner
from the back
up
of the
11.
grid to be 8th, that's an impressive move for him.
Dovizioso 2 up 7.
And then Lindner up 11. So the guys who are slowest on qualifying definitely got race pace.
Oh, Neyron makes a mistake. He's just gifted second place. That's it. That's Utsa flying past second place now for BRT. It's going to be a 1-2. I can't see that changing unless the worst happens, and I've called that before. Nonetheless, he moves into second place. Well played by the German. He's put his Canadian counterpart under a lot of pressure. Neyron, those tyres must be really hurting now.
Yeah, nice and dirty. Not very useful.
Though if I be honest,
he's only got 3 laps left.
He's got 3 laps left, and Chaco's might smell a podium, and that'll be very interesting because that, of course, will be a 3rd consecutive podium, 3rd consecutive 3rd place, if I'm not otherwise mistaken, for Monster. Of course, Lindner, of course, took the first 2. Chaco going to try and get the 3rd one, possibly. It's not over yet. Keranen in 5th.
Oh yeah, it's close.
6th. Engbrink, he's in no man's land. No.
He's in no man's land, but after the first stint, everybody thought that 7th was a miracle. He was looking for something like 14th, 15th.
Yes, it's gone well for him. Here's Nowak, of course, him and his teammate Dovizioso. What a fantastic effort by them. Lindner's going to hold 10th. He came from the last row of the grid. Of course, Nowak did as well, and he's doing better. So, yeah. He's just not been able to hold on to Lindner, actually. And if I be honest, I thought McNamara was going to get them at one point, but that's not happened. He has Rob Sharp that he'll want to get past McNamara, I think.
He's had a good race, but it's not really come off for him that well.
A mini Ashes battle is set to erupt. Burner, well, you know, N-Tech, they can get one car working properly. That's the sad fact, isn't it? They can get one car, but they can't get two. Ratavara, jeez.
Well,
what's happening
Burner
here?
was held back after that massive spin he had at Ferradura.
Yes,
that sent him into the wall. There might have been some damage to the bodywork and the floor, which is just holding him back, but it's not been good. Cedars have had an awful race, absolutely awful.
Just interesting.
But I'm sure that
Poirier has not gotten past Dimas.
He's tried hard, but no. Viper, after winning in Malaysia and Andy Black's retirement, it's just a disaster here.
That was really curtains for them. Nonetheless, Deal starts the final lap. Brazilian Grand Prix. You can
at least we know it's a one-stop now.
Well, yes, yes. Nonetheless, round turn 3.
18 lap lead.
Give him waves to the crowd. You might as well, mate. It's been a fantastic drive. It's been a solid drive. It's been a drive that he needed. And
it's a drive that BRT needed. They've had major promise over 2 races, no points, and then a 1-2 is just dreams come true.
Of course, started in Melbourne with the second, 2 in the top 6 for sure. Yes. And then it all went horribly wrong.
On lap 2.
In the first few laps, both of them going off. In Sepang, in Malaysia, a very weak qualifying effort, but Utsa came back with the fastest lap, showing that there was still fight in the German team. And with this, Pablo Deal will come through turn 15. He will win his home Grand Prix. The winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix is Pablo Deal. Well done for BRT Lamborghini.
BRT is showing they have got speed, definitely got speed, especially in the dry, and the one-stop strategy has paid off massively. But Utz put in a very good drive, battled back up second. Could have been more, wasn't more.
For him.
Chaco didn't quite have enough pace to get past Neyron. Kerrinan takes 5th ahead of rather disappointed Hunsley. Engbrink going to be 7th.
Well done. We're in the point.
There's Engbrink.
He takes it.
Noack in 8th.
Massive props out there for Noack and Lintner. Back of the grid into the points. Well done to them.
Sharp was not able to get past McNamara in the end. Burner will take 14th after his massive spin. Rautavara just could not get it working today. Foro will lead Saeed for Cedars. Here's Dimas, and that's Poirier. There is your winner, though. Right. We'll have a look. We'll confirm the race results. Pablo Deal, fantastic drive to take his first victory of the season and the first for BRT. In a 1-2, that's the first time we've seen that in the series as well. Great effort there from Neyron for N-Tech. Chaco, Kerrinan, they'll make up the 5 with Hunsley, Engbrink, Noack, Dovizioso and Lintner. That is your points paying finishes. Behind them, the not so lucky runners, Sigolakis in 11th, McNamara and Sharp close across the line, Bowner, Rautavara, Foro, Sed, Dimas, Poirier are your final classified finishes, with Rinyaho, Harvey and Black all suffering problems during the race, being suspension, loose wheel and oil leaks. A quick check. Fastest lap of the race is going to go to Ben Utsa, BRT Lamborghini, 1 minute 15.537, which
half second off point.
It's not really, he would have been next to McNamara on the grid, down in 20th, I believe.
But remember, that is on worn tyres on heavy fuel, or rather than low fuel new tyres. So you can never really compare qualifying and the race pace, but
we'll have a quick
look
at the laps. We can see Deal there drop down a little bit through the mid part of the race. It was only really in the top 4 for the entire race. Interesting to look at. We'll look at Hunsley. He struggled. He had a massive dip down to 13th at one point. Neyron as well, doing his one-stop strategy. That was the top 3. We'll look back. We'll find who's someone interesting. That should be Josh. That should be Josh Nowak. There you go. Started last.
Just slowly battled his way through.
By his first pit stop was in 9th, and by the end of he went back to 19th, which at that point was second last. With only who would have been behind it? That's only Dimas behind it.
Yeah.
Fantastic drive from the Australian team manager there. Nonetheless, that, ladies and gentlemen, was round 3 of Formula FG from Sao Paulo in Brazil. Big thanks to my co-commentator today, Jimmy Laad.
Well, thank you. Yes, no, it was nice to join you guys, and this may happen again.
Yes, it will be interesting to see if it happens again. I hope it will. We'll be looking to get different people in as many different races, co-commentators. Though we'll just see what happens in the meantime. Nonetheless, that's round 3. Into Lagos, signing off. I've been Aidan Karen, and have a good night, everybody. Cheerio.